Caelid is the requisite toxic shithole required in every Fromsoft game, like Blighttown, Harvest Valley, and Farron Keep before it, but I do think that Caelid is decidedly less shit than all of those, mainly because of the introduction of torrent. If you happen to know a thing or two because you've seen a thing or two, then you might know that Caelid didn't look like this before the shattering. It was blighted by Malenina's Scarlet rot, which she unleashed in a failed attempt to turn the tides of battle against Starscourge Radahn, but I guess she gets the last laugh as Radahn lost his mind and his body began to deteriorate due to the rot. Honestly, I wish we could just see what Caelid looked like before it was inflicted with Scarlet rot, but unfortunately the lands between never signed the Geneva Convention. While the landscape of Caelid is a wasteland, that doesn't mean that it's barren. Oh, to the contrary, there's a large amount of very valuable items in Caelid. So today, I'm going to go over 5 notable items that you probably missed in Caelid. Have you ever gardened before? I really haven't, other than that one time, but we don't talk about that one time. What I can say from my experience is that the gardening in Elden Ring is actually pretty accurate. In Elden Ring, plant spirits take HP instead of FP when summoned, which I also had to provide a blood sacrifice to get my plants to grow. The specific item I'm talking about is the Miranda Sprout Ashes. They are found in the Caelid catacombs, and you probably didn't find these because 1, they really didn't like you, and 2, because they're found behind an illusionary wall. This ash costs 185 HP and spawns 5 cute little Miranda Sprouts that kinda just like waddle their way towards the enemy and then spread their toxic pollen all over the place. Do take care of them though, as contrary to widely held beliefs, plants are in fact not fireproof. You may be thinking that, well, those are useless, but that's only because you have yet to transcend to the 4th dimensions of comprehensive critical thinking. Personally, I use them to trigger things like the Kindreds of Rot Exaltation Talisman and the Mushroom Crown, which we discussed in my previous video. So if you're a bit lonely and you lack the FP to summon other ashes, then maybe these will be a perfect companion for you. There are a lot of different weapons to be found in Caelid, but one in particular I think is often overlooked, and not because it's bad. It's the Qatar, which you may have found before like me, but you just never used it. You get it from a chest inside Fort Gale in this dark room on the platform above the lion. It comes with the skill Impaling Thrust, which oddly enough cannot be applied to it by using the Ash of War, so if you like it with Impaling Thrust, then you're going to be unable to change it from the default affinity. That aside, you can infuse it with other ashes like Cragblade and Hoarfrost Stomp, or even Flame of the Redmanes. It's just a really underrated weapon because it has super low requirements and is the longest infusible fist weapon, and honestly, I like one-handing it with either a staff or a seal in the other hand. By the way, the one-handed charged heavy does an insane amount of stance damage. There are many build-specific talismans in Elden Ring, such as the Roar Talisman. For bow builds, there are 2 of these. First is the Arrow's Reach Talisman, and the other is our item that we are talking about, which is the Arrow's Sting Talisman. It increases the damage of your arrows and bolts by 10%. You can find this talisman in the tower next to the Unpassable Bridge side of Grace. You can just head up here and watch out for these dickheads, and then you'll find the talisman in this chest right here. This talisman though is honestly probably one of the worst in the game. Not because it's really that bad, but more just because bows suck in this game. You can use bow builds in this game, but in the same way that you can avoid paying taxes. Would you take 2 free points in endurance with the conditions that you have to look like an absolute moron in return? Well, this is a complex moral dilemma faced by those who want to look fashionable and also want to have the best stats possible. In this case, we're talking about the wolf variation of the Imp Head, which can be gotten by killing any of the wolf-headed imps wielding forked greatswords at a rate of 1.5%, or in our case, you can just pick it up in the minor Erdtree catacombs. Using this helm has many possible benefits that are mainly felt at lower levels, as 2 points in endurance would increase your stamina by 4 points and your equip load by 3.2. Ultimately, it comes down to situation, as this really isn't something that you'd use for your entire run, but it's just something that if you happen to grab, you could use for extra stamina, and all it costs you is becoming a Stone Age furry. Next is an Ash of War, and it's been compared to the noob friendly Corpse Piler. That ash would be the Ash of War Double Slash, which oddly enough comprises a series of 6 slashes, so I don't really know why it's called Double Slash. It can be applied to a lot of different weapon classes, but it excels when it's applied to greatswords such as the Claymore. You can get this ash from the town of Celia, and you get it from this pesky teleporting teardrop scarab. So the idea with this ash is to use it in conjunction with buffs like Black Flame Blade, Electrify / Poison Armament, or best of all, Blood Flame Blade. So if you're dissatisfied with the Greatsword category's moveset, then life's short, have an affair. It typically has an FP cost of 6, 3, and 3, but you can reduce this to a more manageable level by using the Carrion Filigree Crest. I honestly can't even go back to using the standard Greatsword moveset, so I just used this and Sword Dance. I really miss the mirror moveset. If only they just used it on more swords. Let me know how many of these items you already knew about in the comment section, and if you'd like to see another video like this on another location. It would also be nice if you left a like and subscribed if you'd like to see more from me, but just watching is enough. So thank you for the support, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.